Welcome to the show. This is The Force Always. My name is Diz, aka David Zammit. Let's get on with the news, the views, the reviews and interviews. And today is a special edition. Shortly, I'm about to head out the door and go and see an advanced screening of Mortal Kombat 2 and giving you a perspective from a Star Wars fan from Australia just to tell you what I think of the film. But before I do that, I'll just give you some Star Wars news. We are only hours away from Star Wars Celebration in LA. Tickets go on sale. Only hours away. I think it's, from what I can tell, it's, less than 10 hours, roughly that. So get online and get ready for that. To more news, there is no news yet on Star Wars Starfighter. It's something that just will not, present itself in any form, and that's okay with me. I'm glad there's no news, because that's good news rather than getting some bad news of why, when, how, and all that type of stuff. But anyway, that is the news, and this is a special edition where I'm going to be seeing Mortal Kombat 2. And so, anyway, I'm about to change into the old jacket and denim and stuff like that, and I'll be back. Okay, so now I'm back from seeing Mortal Kombat 2 at the IMAX, can you believe it? IMAX in Melbourne. Yes, I'm going to give you straight off my review. So let me just start by saying, going to the IMAX in Melbourne, it's a really big walk from the car park, if you're going to park in the street, which I did, and to get to the actual IMAX. It's next to the Melbourne Museum, but it's a really well thought plan of IMAX. It's just a nice little walk. As I approached, I noticed a lot of Mandalorian and Grogu advertising posters and down the escalators and everywhere. They're really, really pushing that film. That's what I noticed in the first. And I get in there and there was stacks of people. Usually when I go to these advanced screenings, which is provided to me by the AACTA, which is ACTA, and thanks to them. And it was like lots of young adults, and there was cosplayers there for the film Mortal Kombat. There was people, just really alternative, funky, classy young adults, not many older people, and it was quite packed. Anyway, the actual IMAX theater, the last time I was in this particular theater, I think I saw the original Avatar, more than a decade ago, whenever that came out, just so long ago. And the screen is great, but it's really close. The seating in the IMAX of Melbourne is, it's not enough depth. There's just not enough depth. But still, it's when you're starting to watch the film and stuff like that, your eyes adjust. You don't think they can, but they do, and it works. The sound is enormous and it's great, Anyway, there was nothing that actually happened with the cosplayers and the audience. It was quite busy. I'd say it's about 80% full, and that's quite big. I'd say it's a 500 seats cinema, so it was quite big. But let's get into the actual review of Mortal Kombat 2. Straight off the bat, 8 out of 10. I'm going to also add, this is the most unique, exhilarating experience I've ever had in a movie-going experience. Let me tell you, as I take the Mandalorian pill. the people there created such a great atmosphere. You know, the young adults who were in cosplay and just regular, just funky dressed type people, and it was just great. It was really, really, really good. Um, so the actual film, a really, really good intro to carry the whole film. Like, it just starts off really well. Now, let me just add, this is going to be spoilerish, and let me also add, I am not a gamer, and I've never seen anything with Mortal Kombat at all. It's a great setup, It's a short but sweet, a chunk of time. It's a great setup. And it really brings the emotion in you, and to carry through the film. But the whole film from that point until the conclusion is pretty much sequence of action-filled fighting sequences, which are just really, really greatly choreographed and just really, really well done. It's so intense. It's like, I would imagine, I don't know, but it would be like, the whole film was like having a Red Bull with cocaine and vodka in it. It was just insane. This film was just non-stop pace. It was so quick paced. And it's good. It sort of distracted you from sort of getting a bit bored in the middle, because the amount of fights, which is obviously simulating a game, was it lost the story from the setup. Like, I thought the story was a little bit lost from that point. It was there, but it wasn't there. But the exotic Asian look to this film, it was truly remarkable, amazing. Just a really great look to the film, which is obviously what Mortal Kombat is all about. That look. It sort of gives me the same feels as the used future look to Star Wars. So sort of that's a part of its look. And with Mortal Kombat, it's got that real organic but futuristic sort of Asian, I'd say Japanese. I think it's Japanese look. And it was so the whole middle of the film had real stories to it in each fight, and the pursuit in trying to win this tournament, which pretty much began from just after the setup of the film. And then you've got this evil guy, and then he's taken over sort of a particular. It's called the Earth Realm. I think it's called an Earth Realm. I don't know what it was, and it was sort of like he was very, very intimidating. The look of the costumes was absolutely amazing. Again, the sets were amazing. The story was good, and then towards the end, in a short climax, there was a final fight, which came from. It mirrored sort of the setup to the film, and sort of had a comeback sort of thing, and it was a really good final fight and sort of conclusion to the film. The only thing I'll say is that there was something that the girl in the setup of the film picked up, which was a blue ribbon. And I thought that was going to be the thing that really technically, in a funny way of putting, tied up the result of the very final fight. It sort of was there, but it wasn't there with the blue ribbon, that is. But also I'll add, the violence and the horror in this film is insane. Absolutely insane. It's really, if you don't like gore, if you don't like intense violence, you will not like this film. The Johnny Cage character, I thought was sort of a good relief, as well as, believe it or not, the Australian comic relief character was was great. Like he was a very much a country-like sort of bogan sort of feel. I think he was in the first film. I'm unsure. I never saw the first film. But he was sort of fun, and the audience were getting into it and getting into him. So yeah, look, it's a great film, but I just think the body of the film was all about the fight sequences and winning this tournament, which was fair enough. But the actual heart of the story really did come in the setup and was sort of lost in the body, and sort of only came back towards the end to the science deliver the film, and then as the credits rolled, this intense techno music theme song pumping in the cinema, the IMAX. It was just insane. If you don't like techno and don't like loud music, you would have hated it. But it gives you an appreciation with the crowd that I was with the type of movie I saw, and it really did give you an appreciation to the intensity of this film. It was absolutely insanely good, and I tell you, 8 out of 10 from me, and that is Mortal Kombat 2 review from a Star Wars kid from Australia. But anyway, I am going to answer some interview questions, which is usually what my last video had, and some questions that I get from that last video of YouTube. So if you're going to send in questions, send them right to the last video video I did, and I can answer them, deemed appropriate to the channel. Anyway, so let's get into it. Michael from Werribee South, can you believe it? He's asking the questions. The first question is the Force versus Arcana. In the recent films, fighters must unlock their Arcana, inner power. Does this feel more like a Jedi discovering the Force or a Sith tapping into raw emotion? I would say it is more to do with Sith tapping into raw emotion and using that as a way of manipulation, but it also is, Jedi discovering the Force as well. I mean, it could go either way, but the way you sort of got this was a bit more with the Sith, or let's say bad guys who are using the Force, tapping into raw emotion. Anyway, that's the answer to that question. The next question, it's a Mortal Kombat question, which, because I've seen the film, I will answer it, and it's deemed for this video. In Mortal Kombat, Earthrealm is one loss away from invasion. How does this compare to the high stakes of the Death Star approaching a rebel base? Completely different. The whole Death Star scene in the original Star Wars film, that was going to destroy the rebel base, and I can't remember the name of the actual where the base was, but and that was more higher stakes. The whole Earth realm was just ruled by an evil guy after he won a certain battle, so I think the stakes were just higher for a whole planet being destroyed by a Death Star in Star Wars. That's my answer to that question. The next question from Michael from Werribee South is asking another Mortal Kombat question. Does it do the tournament justice? Fans were disappointed by the lack of a formal tournament in 2021 film. Opinion is high that the sequel successfully centers around actual Mortal Kombat tournament. Well, I don't know what the first film did, but this film really had a tournament as a part of the storytelling in the main body of the film. So it was sort of like, it was not in a room or a building where they had just player versus player. That it was sort of a part of the storytelling in the body of the film, where the fights really took center stage, and the feels for that was really took center stage. But it was also, but then what I said in the beginning, it took away from the emotional setup in the very intro sequence to the whole film, but still it was really well done because it was like a tournament and real life in a Mortal Kombat way. That's the answer to that question. The next question: is it better than the 2021 reboot? Many early reviewers claim it is a significant improvement, citing better fight choreography and more focused tone. I didn't see the first one. I will say this film, the fight choreography was absolutely insane. It was like you're watching an animated movie, but as real people in this real live action film. It was just insane. The only part of the choreography I didn't like is that when they jump high enough and they sort of land, it's this nice gentle landing. You could sort of sense they were on a rope or something like that, being gently landed down. And that was a little bit fake, but the fights were absolutely intense, absolutely brutal. If this is a Hollywood film, it's the most brutal Hollywood film that I can think of in a commercial blockbuster way. My God, it was insane. Now, the next question, Michael from Werribee South, again another Mortal Kombat question. Should Cole Young have been killed off? There is heavy debate among fans about the protagonist Cole Young. Some leaks suggest he may be sidelined or killed early to make room for game-accurate champions. Look, because I don't know the story, this character Cole Young, all I will say is his death, which is a spoiler, in this film was probably one of the most brutal acts in the film. But that being said, there was a lot of brutal acts in this film. Absolutely insane. Really, really insane. But look, I just think I don't know the significance of Cole Young, why it would be so bad for him to be killed off, especially so early in the film. I wouldn't say it's that early, but I just thought his death was absolutely brutal, and yeah, that's what happened. Anyway, so the next question from Michael from Werribee South. People keep saying more. Now this is not a Mortal Kombat question. People keep saying Maul Shadow Lord is like Andor, but I'm not feeling it. It's more like the Dark Knight Star Wars edition. Never saw the Dark Knight Star Wars edition. I suppose the only comparison to Andor you could say is that it's a series that is really liked by the fans and a certain type of Star Wars fan. There's Andor was not for every type of Star Wars fan. And Maul is not for every type of Star Wars fan, but they have a really high consistency of the particular fan base, really high. And I just think Maul Shadow Lord generally was really good. I thought Andor, the second half of the second season was really good. I thought before that it was sort of something different, something interesting for Star Wars. I appreciated it, but it was definitely different. But I still it was absolutely high storytelling from I think episode 3 all the way to the end in season 2 of Andor. I thought the whole Maul Shadow Lord thing had a consistency that was great. I thought the best episode was, can you believe it, the very last one. I may have not rated it the most high in number, but it was definitely the most rememberable one. And that's it. So that is the show for this time around. Subscribe to The Force Always. I'm here 3 or 4 times a week with Star Wars news, views, reviews, and interviews. And until next time, my friends, keep rocking the Force always. Subscribe.